Hey guys, Lydia here from LE 3D Printing, and today we're going to be turning this Tevo Tarantula into a multi-purpose machine. So, let's get started. Alright guys, so you're probably wondering what I mean by multi-purpose machine. So, over the past couple weeks, I have been looking up things I can do with a old 3D printer or something, and I found out you can hook up a laser to make a 3D printer into a laser cutter. Now, I was very interested in that, and I will hopefully be turning this also into a laser machine. But for now, I'm going to be turning it into a drawing machine, still a 3D printing machine, and a CNC mill. So I have a little Dremel that I will be mounting on this, but first we need to do a lot of work to the printer and to an enclosure we're going to be putting it in. So as you guys know, I used to have a big box right here that was a while ago I made for my Tevo Tarantula, and I still have it. I'm really glad that I actually kept that. I was going to throw it away and disassemble it, but I will be using that, and I'm actually patching up the holes to make it more of an enclosure, because when there will be dust from the CNC, which is the Dremel, it will be sucked out by vacuum, and then it'll have some air circulation with some extra fans on the outside. But what I'm going to be planning on making this into is a CNC with my Dremel. I have designed a Dremel mount in Fusion 360 for my Dremel that I have. It is a cordless Dremel, which is a little frustrating because it will die eventually. Then I'll have to plug it in because it can't charge and be used at the same time. So that will be one obstacle I will be going through. But hopefully that will work. I have not tested out anything on that. I have taken apart the hot end. It is not hooked up to it right now. I have created a little box for all the components. I did disassemble this printer. It is off the board it has usually been on. I took all the wires off. I did some resoldering and fix up the wires, and then I put it all in this wooden box that I made, a custom box for the motherboard, which will be mounted on the outside of the big enclosure that it will be placed in. And I will be making this series in separate videos because it is a long process, and it will be taking a little bit to film and actually complete this entire project that I will be doing. I'm really excited to get into this. This will keep me very busy, and hopefully I will get as many shots as I can for you guys to show you the entire process. So let's go right ahead and show you guys what I did to disassemble it, rewire, and set everything up. Alright, so what I basically did here was disassemble the motherboard and everything that was connected to the right side of the printer. Then I actually did start unplugging the cords for the extruder and the Z-axis, just to make it easier. But what you want to make sure you do is label all your wires, unless you do completely unplug them from the motherboard. But I think I did that eventually. But then just going to unscrew the base controller and move everything to the side. So now I am actually disconnecting the entire hot end because I won't be having this on here, and then I had to disconnect the main fan from the power supply, and then I just unplugged everything, labeled everything, and now I am just going to mount it back onto the clear piece so that I will have something for it to sit on while it is in the box. So now this is a live shot of my dad and I figuring out the size of the box that we need to cut out with our table saw. He will be cutting it out just to make it a lot safer. I do not know how to use the table saw yet, but hopefully I will learn how to use it one day. So the 6 sides I will be cutting out. We will be cutting out 2 7 inches by 5 inches, 2 3 inches by 5 inches, and 2 6 inches by 3 inches. So that will be the entire 6 sides of the box, and then I will eventually have to cut out some slots for the cords to go through and everything, and then a big slot in the top. And then here we were just looking for another piece that would make sure that we would have enough wood to make the entire box. So now my dad is going to be cutting these. Simple cut, just goes right across, and we're measuring everything. But then the top actually, we did have originally a 6 by 5, but then the top and bottom turned out to be a 7 by 5. So now we were just figuring out where the slots would be for each of the cords. Then we decided to drill some holes and then use this tool to cut the holes out. And just I went back and straightened all the lines out for the rest of them and did the rest of that. So after that was finished, I decided to start assembling the main board onto this board. So there was a lot of ups and downs with this, trying to figure out what to do, but then I eventually just used the entire acrylic part that it came on originally, and I screwed that into the bottom of the board, or the top of the board, and then screwed the main acrylic part that was connected to the motherboard onto that. And then I just screwed everything in to make sure that the board was completely stable and wasn't going to go anywhere. So now I'm going to dry fit the entire box just to make sure everything is right and to make sure all the holes lined up. So instead of gluing it with wood glue and nails, I'm just going to super glue it and use this activator on each side, because if I do eventually need to take this apart, then I will just be able to knock it out with a hammer, which you guys will see I do later. And I just have to make sure everything fits and wipe it down just a little bit. And then I actually started plugging things in a little too early here because I did have to knock it out. So now I actually had to do a quick fix. So I actually had to take off the entire x-axis, and then I had to take off the end stop, resolder that, and then put it back on. So I started plugging everything in, and I tried to turn it on, and it didn't work. So I figured out that I was plugging the power wires into the wrong places, and it was a little weird. So then I realized that there was a stop button on the board that I forgot to put a cutout hole for, so as you can see I'm drawing that here, and I tried to cut it out with my Dremel, which wasn't a good idea. So then I eventually just knocked it out with a hammer, and that's why we use super glue instead of wood glue. As you can see here, I'm just knocking it out. Had to unplug something, and then I went to go do the same exact thing as I did earlier for all the other holes for the cords. I just drilled a hole and then cut it out with the little saw that we had, and then I just glued everything back on. Everything fit still, so I actually didn't glue this side in just in case it happened again. So I just super glued the top on, and then everything was set to go. So this is actually what everything looks like. It's a little bit messy, as you can see, but the tarantula is not on its board. I actually took that board off, and I had to make a bigger board so that it would be able to sit completely in the box. And then once again, this will be going on the outside just to keep it all clean and not dusty. There will be this fan again, and then I have a 120 millimeter fan that we're putting on the box to make sure there's a lot of air circulation. And just a little close up here, this is all the cutouts and stuff for the wires and everything. Now there is a lot of space in here. There's extra space. It's not all crammed, so that there will hopefully be no fires. And as you guys know, as I took off the hot end, I'm not really sure if I'm going to be putting that back on there, but if I eventually do want to make this back into a 3D printer, it's just a plug in and go, just a simple setup. But I am going to keep the heated bed. I don't really want to store this really, so I'm just going to be using it even though there's not going to be really a purpose for it. Maybe I will find one for it one day if I do eventually go back to 3D printing on it. But I could just do a acrylic cutout or a wood cutout to mount it onto the bed for just a normal bed, but I will be keeping that, and then the LCD screen and everything will be mounted on the outside so it can be used and nothing will get all dusty. And actually I think this project is going pretty well, so hopefully the box and everything finishes good and we will keep going with this project. Alright guys, so that is it for part 1 of this build series of converting this Tevo Tarantula into a whole new machine. So I just want to tell you guys that this printer machine is great. It was my first printer that actually worked, and there was nothing wrong with it. I decided to try something new, but if you get bored with a DIY printer, go ahead and do whatever you want. I let people know on the Tevo Tarantula group on Facebook that I was doing this, and they said they got bored with it too, and they decided to make it into something new. You're not destroying the printer, you're making it something better, which is improving it, and which is super cool, instead of just leaving it in the dust and forgetting about it. I really hope you guys stick with me along this adventure of creating this new machine. This is something new for me, and I'm super excited to do it and stick to my projects. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe down below. I know this was a quick video, but I really do hope you guys enjoyed it. For the quick tutorial instructions on what I did to basically clean up this board and clean up the printer for the first half. I know it wasn't a longer video like my videos usually are, but I hope you stuck through and you're still here watching at the end. I really hope to see you guys in my next videos. Don't forget to comment down below on what you liked about the video and any new video suggestions that you would like to see in the future on this channel. I definitely would encourage you guys to let me know, because I want to see what you guys want to see me make. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.